Great. Okay, guys, we're back. It's the Foolish Optimist. My name's Amy McDonald. You know who I am. I'm really excited about our guest today. We have Elijah King running for Durham City Council, Ward 1. He is a lifelong Durham resident, a community organizer, and the proud son of a single mother. And he's running in the 2025 election for City Council. So, Elijah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Can you tell me why you're running? Why 2025?
Well, first, Amy, thank you so much for having me. I'm a super fan. But I'm running in 2025 because Durham is growing, which is good. Durham is growing, and that's a good thing. But as we're growing and as we're seeing so much progress and having so many people come to the city I love so dearly, we have to remember the people who are leaving behind. Black and brown folks, workers, small business owners, people that rely on public transportation, and everyone in between. And that's why I'm running, because of the fact that people are depending on us getting it right this time. We don't have time to wait another election cycle or another one after that to hope to and pray that our city council gets it right. And so that's our running, because as the only person in this race for Ward 1, actually from Durham, I know what Durham has been, I know what it is now, and I know what we can be. And that's what I'm running, because I want to fight for all those people that I just mentioned, many of whom look and live like me.
I love it. As you know, I'm a North Carolina native, of course, and as you are, public transit's always been
Yep.
a huge problem in the South. I'm by the content I make is history based. I'm certain it is
Mhm.
back on towards racial divides and how it helps everybody. So I'm so grateful that you're running on public transit and helping everybody. But it's one of those things. Public transit helps everyone. Oh, it drives
Everybody.
me insane. It drives me insane. It drives me insane. So aside from public transit, what do you think is one of the biggest issues for Durham today and for your ward specifically?
And so I think that the biggest issue or top three issues, I'll give you three.
Sure.
There's there's four, but I can give it to you in three. But small businesses are suffering right now. In downtown Durham, we just started about 2 or 3 weeks ago our small business tour. And we talked to so many small business owners in downtown and East Durham and North Durham and Golden Belt, all over the place, Ninth Street, all the places I love. And we've talked to these business owners, we've talked to management, general manager, we've talked to employees, and two things are very clear. The biggest, they need help. But two things are very clear. There's a parking problem and there's a red
Always.
tape problem. I talked to one business owner and she was almost in tears because she said, I just don't know what to do. I want to provide my staff, with all the things that I could. I want to heighten their wage, but I can't heighten their wage if we're paying extra costs because of heightened tariffs. And I want to pay for parking, but I can't do that because everything else is so expensive. But I don't want
Yeah.
my employees to have to pay for parking themselves. And so that's a huge issue of small businesses. Transportation. As a person who, like I said, I was from Durham, I've seen the transportation system in Durham improve tenfold.
Hmm.
But I do think we have further to go. For folks who don't drive, who rely
Yeah.
on the bus, who rely on sidewalks, who rely on bike lanes, we need to be sticking up for them too. Sure. And so, or if you're a train fan like me, and the third,
Yeah.
opportunity. Opportunity. I was just talking to the former mayor, Steve Schul, the other day, and I remember when I was a student journalist at Riverside High School. And I remember when he won, a classmate and I had a bet. And we said, okay, well, if your guy wins, your story gets published. If my guy wins, mine gets published. And Mayor Steve Schul won, and so mine got published. And I told him, I said, the fact is, this marked a major point in my life because a few weeks before this, I was sleeping on my pastor's floor.
Wow.
I was going place to place. A few months after that, I had my first stable housing that I had, in recent year or two. And so it marked opportunity because after that, I became, a avid writer. I
Hmm.
loved what I did. I got more involved in politics. the doors open. And the only thing setting me apart from so many of young men, to be specific, but people in general, is the fact that I had opportunities awarded to me. And
Yeah.
that makes all the difference in crime. That makes all the difference in jobs and everything else down the line. So I think those are my three biggest things.
Yeah. Small businesses across the country are suffering, and it has been a common theme with every single candidate that I'm speaking with. And it's just
Yep.
making me so excited because small businesses is like, when we're talking about American dreams, we're talking about building a business, building something that you can call your
Exactly.
own. And they add so much flavor to the community, right? All these small businesses are
Exactly.
why we love where we live. So that's so
And that's the
exciting.
thing is there are so many people, like my mom, who love what they do. She crochets and things like that, makes stuffed animals and hats and scarves. And she,
Beautiful.
sells it on Etsy. But there are so many people who have the dream of taking their Etsy business or their Pinterest and making a brick and mortar. And we need to stick up for those folks.
Well, and then once you have those brick and mortars, it becomes a place of community where other people who
Yeah.
crochet show up and they can learn things from each other and build their own little like, and I've had this conversation with so many people, right? It's like these niche communities is how we find our
Ex-
people. And it's like so perfect, right? Like whatever it is, you love collecting Pokemon cards. Like if you can find a place to buy a Pokemon card, you'll find other people who like
ex-
Pokemon cards. And it's so
Mine is
cool.
vintage,
Uh,
secondhand thrifting and vintage
yes.
clothing and things like that. And I
I love
found my
saying
community most definitely.
this is a vintage shirt that now has a hole in it, and I'm so upset
Yeah.
because I've worn it to death, and it's just the best. Okay, so you're the only person from Durham running. Let's talk a little bit about how you're going to get people excited and what the obviously you're out here, you're listening to people, you're talking to people, you're talking to small businesses, which is very exciting to begin with. But what's your plan for the next couple of months? The election's October 7th. Am I
Yes, to the
correct in that?
primaries. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you have going on for the people of Durham and for your campaign and just building that community and community support?
So campaigning isn't hard for me because of the fact that I believe that campaigning isn't campaigning. It's about community
It
and
is.
showing up and doing the work to listening. There are going to be other people in this race who are going to make a point to tell people what they need. Oh, well, those people need this and this and this and this. Meanwhile, I think that something I've been doing is just going and meeting folks where they are. I take the bus all the time. And I've been doing it more often because I just want to listen to what people are thinking. I was just talking to a lady on the bus and I was like, we were talking about hey, how easy is it to take the bus? And she said, not easy at all. It
No.
was her and her two kids, and we were staying at the bus stop. And the bus didn't have a shelter, it didn't have a bench, it didn't have a trash can, and it was just a sign. And she said, when we have a lot of stuff or when we go to the grocery store, it's hard because you've been on your feet and you want to sit down and you can't. And so
Yeah.
doing things like that, where it's just literally using the things that God gave us. So that's the first part.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
second part is using my useful experience, if you will,
Go
and
for it.
trying some new things.
Yeah.
We're doing a virtual rally on this Wednesday, June 25th, or this next Wednesday, rather, from 6 to 7:30, and with some special guests. The youngest mayor in North Carolina and one of the youngest city councilmen in North Carolina. And we're doing this virtual rally because it's like, this is fun. This is the way to engage people that want to get involved everywhere.
Right. Right.
Canvassing. My field game is going to be amazing. I'm super excited. And so it's going to be all about the field game. And like I said, meeting folks where they are. They're going to
Ugh.
be, like I said, folks in the race who are going to raise thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to try to buy this election. And I am going to raise money. I'm going to do my due diligence, of course. But the biggest part for me and the thing that I care about, and as you can tell, I'm a chatterbox, is going to talk to people, going
Yeah.
to see what folks' experiences are. There are people that have lived here their whole lives and have built Durham on their backs. And those are the folks that we need to be listening to for how we
Yeah.
can move forward in the community. And so that's what I'm excited about. And I think that's how we're going to win this is meeting those folks where they are, talking to those folks and getting their story before anything else. And that's what's made my platform. When making my platform for small businesses, it was after the small business tour. I didn't do it before
Yeah.
and then go to the small business and say, well, this is what you need. I said, well, what do you think I should be putting in my platform?
I think this is like the biggest difference I've seen for like this next generation of leaders. That's what I'm on the hunt for, right? The foolish optimist for me
Well,
is I'm looking for the next generation of leaders. Obviously, I consider you in that group, but like the biggest difference is nobody is trying to tell people how they should feel. Nobody is trying to tell
mhm.
people what they should think, what they need. They're just trying to fucking listen. Crazy idea. Crazy idea. I'm going to listen to what you need and then I'm going to provide what you need.
Exactly. Who would have thunk it? You know?
It's just novel. I mean, groundbreaking. Crazy. But for years, for generations, and literally me as a woman, I've been told that I need to only care about women's rights. I need to only care about reproductive rights. And I'm like, yeah, but reproductive rights are healthcare for everybody. Reproductive rights are
Exactly.
safe and smart decisions for all parties involved. Like, what do you mean? What do you? So I'm so excited to hear that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I challenge people all the time when they say, "Oh, I'm the vice chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party," or one of them.
Yes.
And when people say, "Oh, I didn't vote in the last election," I say, "Why?" And they say, "Well, I don't. Quite frankly, I see both parties as being bad." And I said, "Oh, well, tell me more." I say, and they're like, "Oh, well, I just think that my life hasn't gotten any better, and both sides are just bad." I'm like, "Okay, so do you think about teacher pay?" Well, I think that's a good idea. We need to raise teacher pay. Oh, okay. Well, what about workers' rights? Do we need to, workers' rights? Yeah, workers' rights. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what about funding schools? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Small businesses. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I think I do know a party that should be voting more. But, maybe I don't know.
Well, and I do think, like I said, I do think that there is a institutional group of Democrats that have just been in power for so long and they aren't listening to people and that's the issue. I think that's the crux of our issue. This not younger
Exactly.
generation of people running are doing exactly what you're doing. They're talking to people. They're defining what they want to do based off of what the people need. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about your experience. You're the third vice chair of the Democratic Party in North Carolina, but maybe give us a little bit of background on who Elijah King is.
So, funny, haha. There is this narrative that somehow because I'm young, I haven't done the work. And so we're going to disprove
I
that
mean,
right now.
you've done, I know your background. I'm asking the question for everybody else. I
So
know you've done the
we're
work,
going to
but tell
disprove
me.
that right now. And so, you know, right after high school, and I actually, before I even graduated high school, I started an organization with my close friend, Isa Deering. And we started the Durham Youth Environmental Justice Initiative because we saw that when looking at environmental degradation and looking at all the environmental issues and
Yeah,
environmental justice, the thing that hits the most in the communities that it affects the most are Black and Brown people. And so we wanted to
always.
take Black and Brown youth and just anyone who cares, but targeting Black and Brown youth and saying, hey, we have an organization for you to talk about these things. And we created an amazing movement, an environmental justice movement from that. Now, after high school, we had a drive-through graduation
Yeah,
um,
tough.
because I
So
graduated
hard.
during COVID.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we had a drive-through graduation. And as I was sitting at home, I'm a bit of a busybody. As I was sitting at home, I began to see all of the footage of these lines of people and these huge car lines going to go get boxes of food for their family. And I remembered all the people at my school at that 12 o'clock bell, remembering people running to the cafeteria because I was one of two free meals, free breakfast, free
Right.
lunch that they were getting that day. And I said, well, COVID has shut down all the schools, all the food pantries,
Yeah.
and all the food banks. And so how can I fill in that gap? And so with my collection of sticky notes, I came up with the Durham Neighbor Tree Lunch Initiative. And so I quickly messaged a small business owner, Grant Rollman from Kombucha, who told me about Andy McGowan of Gear Street Garden, a local restaurant. They told me about a local farmer, and we put our heads together and we said, okay, this is how we can help farmers, help local business owners, and feed people all in one swing. And so I raised a bunch of money to hire Andy's workers back on living wage, pay the bills, and reopen the restaurant. And we served, I remember that first week, 70 meals the first day. Then that turned to 100 meals every day. Then that turned to 200 meals. And then we kept going after that. And we did 60,000 meals from that
It's
initiative.
amazing.
And quite frankly,
60,000.
60,000. We helped so many local business owners because we were paying them to make these meals to
Right.
help the community. We were paying local farmers to provide that produce. I became third vice chair in the state party in 2023 after a 5-way race. And so I know
Woo.
tough fights. But and then I just won again unanimously this year for my second term. And I could keep going. I could honestly keep going. I'm on the board of the North Carolina AIDS Action Network. I was on the board of Made in Durham, creating school to career pipelines and making
Yeah.
sure that kids who don't have a desire or can't go to a 4-year institution can still make it in the Triangle and in Durham and in this country. And
I
so
love
I could
it.
keep going down that list because I have done the work. I
Yeah.
have simply done the work. And I think that people look at me, they say, oh, well, he's young. So obviously he hasn't been able to do that much. That couldn't be furthest from the truth.
Well, and that's something that older generations do to young people to discredit them. And I'm so glad that you're able to explain about half of the things you've done. Like you said, the list is long. You guys can go to Elijah King for Durham. That is his website, and you can read even more or just follow him on across socials and learn more about him. But that is what older generation, and I'm a millennial. I'm like solidly a millennial. So we got shit on left and right for years,
Exactly.
just everywhere. And it's like, pump the brakes, Sharon. Just calm down. Everyone I know is working really hard to sustain the life that they want to live, whether that is
Mhm.
in politics, in tech, in law, wherever we are. We are not we're not generations of people who haven't put in the work. So I'm so glad to see, one, you explain your story, but two, that you're working to even expand that resume even more. You're already at 2-3
Right?
pages, but you can keep going because I think you're just so pure of heart. You're actually like helping people.
Well, and I think the thing that the challenge here is that, especially in progressive cities like Durham, I say in my travels across state, Durham is a beacon of progress, most definitely. But when
Yes.
I come home, there are people who love to scream from the rooftops, well, I voted for Obama and I love Kamala, and we need more people of color to run, and we need more people of color in office, and we need to support young people. And then I put my name out there and they said, oh, never mind, not that one.
Not you, not you. No, 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 no,
Exactly,
no.
not
Other,
yet.
other, other.
And so
Oh
that's the
God.
challenge that I have to face here is that the hypocrisy of it all is
Yeah,
real. And it is something that people are feeling across the country. And candidates like myself, candidates of color, like myself of all ages.
yes,
It's, well, there's this huge yearning, we think, for a difference and for a change and for a switch up. And then we put ourselves out there just to fall short every single time. And now
yeah,
people are going to say, "Oh well, Wes Moore and Barack Obama, and oh, and what about this person?" But those they did what people didn't think they could do, and they
yeah,
defied the odds to be who they are. And I think that if we take their stories and replicate it and account for all the other candidates who want to do the same thing, which is represent their communities, because Barack Obama didn't just say, I'm going to be president one day. He was a
right.
community organizer and he said, I want to listen to folks and I want to represent my community. And that's who he became, who he was.
Yeah. I think that is literally the playbook, right? And I've talked to other people running at local levels and state levels, and the success that the Democrats saw if the way we win the most is when we get out into the communities and we organize and we actually just help people through these campaigns, right? Campaigns, like you said, they
Exactly.
don't have to be super stuffy and like events all the time. No, you can go anywhere that there are people and just
And
get in
just
there.
talk
Yeah.
and
And
listen.
just chat. Yeah. And I think that reminds people that like obviously you're a regular human. Yeah, you want to get out there and you want to help people as much as you can, but you're already doing that. But you just want to do it in more of an official capacity where there's a budget that you can actually change your neighborhood. You know?
And I think that's the thing is I want every person, woman, child, small business owner, and everything in between. I want every person of all ages to be able to go in that city council chamber, look on that dais, and say, I see myself on this council.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that is my desire, really. I want them to see, well, I am homeless right now, sleeping in a Red Roof Inn. And I want them to be able to say, well, Elijah King, the city councilman from Ward 1, has done that same exact thing. I am deciding which bills to pay this month. I just saw an eviction notice on my door. I am choosing between putting food on the table for my kids and eating less. I
Hmm.
am, I take the bus every single day, and it's hurtful because the bus schedule doesn't work with my work schedule, and so I can't keep a job. And I want them to be
Yeah.
able to say, Elijah King has gone through the same things, and so we have a listening ear on this council, something that we don't have right now. I know that's why I'm running. This is very important to me for that reason.
That's beautiful. That's like, my background is I used to work in politics. I'm now in tech and all these other things. I've lived 1,000 lives, but like everywhere I go, anytime I talk to people, I'm like, you have to have a big why. You have to really
Exactly.
feel it deep in your heart. And the big why in politics is even more important. And that's a perfect big why. No notes, no notes, right? Uh, Making sure that people feel represented and
Mhm.
show them what's possible, right?
Exactly.
Again, we talk about the American dream. This is it. Being able to represent people just like you in city council, at the state legislature level, all those things. So, what are other things people should know about you as the human being Elijah King running for city council?
To
You like
emphasize that point
vintage.
I would say I like vintage. This coat I actually got from a vintage shop. It's beautiful. Um, but to emphasize that human being part, I was like, when we were taking the pictures and setting up the West, and we took over 100 pictures because I'm that picky. See, I'm already being a human. But we took over 100 pictures and we were out there for hours. It was so hot, and I hate the heat, so I was complaining the whole time. And after I was like sharing my campaign team, I was okay. So these are the pictures. Which one should we use? And one of them was the picture with the polo
Mm-hmm.
like this and my tattoos out. And I said, well, I
Mm-hmm.
can't use that because people are going to be like, oh my God, he has tattoos. And they're like, that's the point. You are a real person. And I'm like, but are you sure? And I can do
Right.
that. And since then, we have gone with it because we need people to see their authentic selves. We need
Yeah.
people to be their authentic selves. And I think when I was helping recruit for state legislative races last cycle, was talking to a candidate and they were like, well, I mean, I'm not, I can't make a speech. I'm not, I can't make, I don't do public speaking. I'm like, that's okay. Are you a good listener? Can you talk to people? Oh, say, boom,
Mm-hmm.
there we go. Do you have it
Sold.
in your heart? And
Yeah.
so, more about me, I guess I love trains, as you can see. I talked to Joe Biden for about 5 minutes about trains. I told him that the
Yes.
two biggest Amtrak fans are sitting right here. And he said, oh, okay. He said, is that so? I said, yes, sir. And said, I took over 100 trains last year. So excited. He said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, Brad, but I got you beat. And then told me this amazing story about when he was a senator taking the train in his last train ride before he
Yeah.
becoming vice president. So vintage trains and the biggest thing, music.
Yes.
I'm a
Yes.
huge collector of vinyls. I have over 300 physical albums in my collection, and then a billion for the small ones, or those 45s or 35s, one of those. Um, but
I don't
the
even know
double
what
sided
the number is.
singles.
I'm like the 8 tracks or
I would say
the
the
yeah
small ones,
the
yeah,
oh the
with the
little guys.
singles.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and I've
gosh,
got like boxes and cases of those.
I've not seen one of those in so long. I've seen the mid-size, the 8 tracks, right? But I
Mhm.
haven't seen a single vinyl record. And I live on if and when you come to New York, we will go down the street to where my neighborhood vinyl record is, my store. They're open till 8 p.m. every day.
Oh, nice. Actually, my place, I got hooked. Hunky Dory on 9th Street in Durham, Hunky Dory. They, in their basement, now they have a bar and it's very posh. But in their basement,
Ooh.
they do vinyls for $1 or
Oh, hell
less.
yeah.
And
Hell
so
yeah.
I would go with my little $10 bill because I was in high school and I thought I was rich then. And
Yes,
I would just go
right.
buy 10 records. And I'd
No,
sit there and I would like listen to it because you can just, they have record players in there. And so you can put it
right.
on and
You
listen
put your
to
little
it. And
headphones
so I'd sit
on.
there for a
Yeah.
few hours and listen. And then I would buy 10 every time, buy 10 or however much I could get at a time. And I think
Yeah.
that's when it kickstarted. And now it's an addiction. Um,
Look, if
every
you're addicted
record you,
to we're good with that. That's a solid,
that's a good
again,
one.
you're helping small businesses. You are helping musicians and you're discovering
Mhm.
new music and you're probably in those types of record stores. Again, this is a community building event. It really is. Out mine down the street now do DJ classes. You can sign up for a DJ class if you
Ooh.
want. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, I mean, that's awesome.
I think the biggest thing, and this is what people in Durham, uh, in other places, but definitely Durham, I have been called out so much because I love my scooter. I have an electric
Yes.
scooter,
Hell
and I
yeah.
was in a coffee shop the other day, and they were like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And they said, "Were you just scooterized?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I have my electric scooter." They're like, "Oh my God, I've been seeing you every so often. I'll see you scootering through downtown and you're just jamming because I keep my headphones in."
You're
And they're
right.
like,
You're
"You're
right.
just jamming." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And so that's what I've become known for is my scooter.
Honestly, I love that. That means you're like very visible and people will know exactly who you are and they're going to see you scooting back and forth between your house and work when you do become a city council member. So, you mentioned this. You mentioned Durham's very liberal. So is the majority of the city council in Durham, are they all Democrats or are they all progressives? Or do you have people that you'll be working across the aisle with?
And so Durham is blue, 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 blue. And we
Yeah.
gave Governor Cooper the governor's mansion in 2016. We could have done more to help find 400 something votes for Sherry Beasley, but I won't
Yeah.
talk about that. It still makes me cry. But Durham is blue, blue, blue. And so the city council is all blue. We are nonpartisan. Durham City
Okay.
Council and their county commissioners are nonpartisan races. And so we are casting a wide net to everybody who has love for Durham in their heart. And there are people on the city council I can work with. I'm approaching this race as a coalition builder, not, oh, I'm going to vote with these people, or I'm going to vote with
No.
these people.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick in the middle. It is, I am coming at this as Durham, the average folks don't give a hoot or a holler about, oh, I'm going to vote with my bestie boo all the time. They
Right.
want someone who's going to provide results. They want someone who's going to listen. They want someone who's going to be a coalition builder and try to get what is best for Durham.
Amazing.
What is best for Durham is a person who will uh, try to negotiate and bring everybody together and say, look, I don't know what you guys are bickering about, but right now there's a mother somewhere that is struggling to provide for her kids.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to be caring about. Not, oh, are we going to plant a new tree? Although that's something that I care about very deeply,
Yeah.
it is, well, how can we plant trees? How can we make bike lanes as well as provide for everybody in
Right.
the world?
Well, and there's the like symbolic planting trees. And then it's like we could actually do a citywide initiative that could provide some jobs for people while we protect the environment. And by the way, at the end of the citywide initiative, we can plant your special tree with the plaque in front of it. We can do it. We can do it all. It's
I
actually
promise.
it's a thing we can do, you know? I was looking at the Durham demographics from the North Durham website, like the city website. Durham is even more diverse than North Carolina as a whole, right? Obviously, you've got a lot of,
Mhm.
I know, it's great. And you've got a lot of colleges there. You've got a lot of industry. My question is, I guess how, like, even, I mean, the statistics for college graduates, it's like 65% or so, it's like a ton. It's just of a lot of people, a lot of educated people, a lot of diversity. How can we help Durham build for the future where it's a little bit more equitable for all of the wards and and basically share all of the opportunities, right? That are coming out of all of these industries.
And that's the thing is we need to build opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, you noted that we have, amazing colleges in Durham, North Carolina Central University, as well as Duke University.
Mm-hmm.
Right down the street is UNC, and on the other side, right down the street is NC State, and so many
So
more.
many. Yeah.
But the thing is, if we don't keep providing those opportunities to thrive, if we don't keep providing housing, affordable housing, and deeply affordable housing, we're going to
Yes.
lose all that talent from those schools to other places. They're going to find a job elsewhere, or find an opportunity, or find living situations that are better for them elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, we love to say, oh, well, this is the most important election of our lifetimes. Well, this one's the most important election. For some people, including our young people, every election is the most important of our lifetimes.
Yes.
For poor people, for single, that single mother, like I said, that single mother, that single father, trying to stick up and provide the very best for their children. This election is the most
Is
important
the
of
one.
their lifetime, as well as the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And so
Yeah.
that is how we can stick up for those demographics for young people and more is continuing to provide those opportunities. And I think with the Bull City Futures fund that the mayor is building, which is it's helping nonprofit organizations provide those opportunities for the community so
Cool.
young people and can be engaged so that the community can have something to look to and say, that's a home for me. That is
Right.
something I can be involved in. That makes me feel like I am still engaging with Durham. Because let's be honest, there is a Durham where there are ample opportunities where they can stick a sign in their front yard that says kids that play, where they can stick a sign in a campaign sign in their front yard, where they can put an organization, equal rights for everyone, in their front yard. And then there's another bill where
Hmm.
you can basically leave that neighborhood and go right down the street, maybe 5 minutes. You actually just go into downtown. You go one direction, it's that Durham, and you go in the other direction. And there are people that don't have yards. There are people
Right.
who every day is a fight. Every month is a fight for that bill. And so this is the same Durham, multiple different realities. And we need to make sure that we don't have candidates that are just like, we're going to stick to them because they vote, or we're going to stick to them because they donate.
Right.
We need to make sure that we are casting a wide net and making sure we are listening to the reality of both stories and narratives.
I want to loop back to something you mentioned. What was it called? The Bowl City Fund? Is that the
Yeah,
nonprofit?
and I hope I'm getting the name right, but Mayor Leonardo Williams, our Durham's mayor, just last week or the week before rolled out this fund to fund nonprofits and organizations that are like catering towards the needs of Durham. Whether it
Hmm.
is giving kids opportunities after school, whether it is building that, like I said, that school to career pipeline, whether it is training opportunities, just down the line, is giving Durham the ability to thrive. And
And
I
it's like
think that's why I support it.
it's like partnering with nonprofits across the city.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And we all know the American education system. We built it once. We've never revised it. And for some reason, we're like, why isn't it working 100+ years later? It's
Just years later.
crazy. Like,
Who
Like
would
very
have
like,
thought?
oh my God, it's a shock. I love anything that has to do with school to career, anything with trades, anything like, one of my many lives I've lived is in real estate and construction, which you do not need college degrees for, but you do need
Exactly.
trade programs. And we could have kids being 18 and having these programs already done and like ready to like take on the world, you know, but we don't. I mean, in Charlotte, where I went to school, we had one school with an auto mechanics program, and it was the wealthiest school in the district. And I was like, come
Exactly.
on. I'm like, these kids have nicer cars than any of the teachers, any of the principals. They're going to college. They're going like, we need this elsewhere. Like we would go to that school for sports, and we were like,
Oh wow.
what,
You're like,
what,
oh my
what?
God.
Yeah, we're like, this is the nicest gymnasium I've ever seen, and I've gone to NC State, and I've gone to Chapel Hill, and you're still like, and
You
I
guys have
digress, but
it.
yeah, but
But
like
it's
I love,
true. It really is
yeah,
true. And there are, like I said, there are going to be folks who are going to bulldoze or attempt to bulldoze this campaign and say, well, that's not the truth or that's not reality. And my response will be, and it has been, well, maybe that's not your reality, but it is the reality of someone somewhere. And that is the reality that I
in
have to
Durham.
account for.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, it's really frustrating when people try to discount the reality because you're like, no, I'm telling you this because I grew up here, because I live in these neighborhoods, because I talk to these people. And by the way, even if it's not the reality of someone today, right now, in this moment, it has been recently. And if we bring up the reality for all like that experience for the lowest people in our districts and for the people having the hardest time, everybody else thrives too. It's not, again, not rocket science. Um, but is there anything we haven't discussed that you want to talk about before we do our rapid
Uh,
fire questions? We do 10 questions to
no,
wrap up the whole thing.
I love that. And I like thinking about that opportunity. When you have people living on the margins day in and day out, and we wonder, for example, crime. My position on fuel safety is that we can fix that or attempt to fix it by providing opportunities. Because when people live on the margins day in day out and become desperate, of course, we're
Shit,
gonna,
shit happens. Yeah.
shit happens.
Yeah.
And
Because
we
it
have
needs
to
to.
remember that these are still people at the end of the day that just want a chance at life. And I think that this Full City Future Fund provides that start. I think that our position can be that. It's just providing those opportunities, and that's how I'm going to approach it with that holistic approach. That people are just naturally; they don't just get born bad. They don't just
Yeah.
they're not just bad
Oh,
people.
oh my
And
God.
so I think that's the last thing that I want to say.
All right, guys, this is Elijah King. He is running for Durham City Council. You can find him on TikTok and Twitter for Elijah King NC. Instagram's Elijah King for Durham. His website is also ElijahKingForDurham.com. Please follow him and check him out. Now, Elijah, we're gonna do 10 rapid fire questions real quick. Okay, first of all, coffee or tea?
Oh, that's a hard question. Oh, you start
What is the last book you read? You like coffee. What is the last book you read?
a Time magazine.
Honestly, good work. I love a magazine. Somehow I got signed up. I thought I signed up for the Atlantic digital subscription, but now I'm getting the hard copies, and it's quite lovely. I mean, I'm like, like, don't mind if I do, turning the page. Okay, so if you had to eat one breakfast every day for a year, or one meal every day for a year, no days off, what would it be?
And it's a breakfast bowl from Elmo's Diner on Ninth Street.
Oh yeah,
It
go
has
support Elmo tonight.
cornbread, and sweet potatoes and avocados and sausage and so much other really great stuff.
Sounds so
And
good.
and it's really delicious.
That sounds so good. I'm gonna come down to Durham. Um, do you have something that you do to calm yourself down when you're super stressed out?
get on my scooter and go. It
And
has
just
a
whip
radius of
around.
20 miles. Exactly.
Music in the ears, whip it,
And
go.
just going for
Honestly, feeling that like fresh air on your face and like it's the best. I like this. Do you have a favorite movie?
Oh, that's super hard. I'm a letterbox nerd. And so, uh,
Follow Elijah
I
King
will
on
say,
Letterbox. Follow Elijah King.
oh,
You give me
that's okay.
top
That's really
three
hard.
favorite movies. Top three. How about that?
Okay, top three. I would say top three. Okay. Okay, top three. Um, First Wife's Club. I'm a
Oh,
huge Diane
classic.
Keaton fan.
Amazing. Amazing. That's a
Something's
good
Gotta
film.
Give.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing a trend.
And uh, what's that movie with Tom Hanks and he's in the airport?
Tom Hanks in the airport.
Uh,
Seattle? Is it the one in Seattle? No.
no, he lives in the airport.
Oh
He
God.
has to live in the airport. Oh, okay. Well, then I will take that for my top three. Oh, this is so hard because all of the movies that I like, I have like a huge list of them, and they all make people cry. I have a huge list. I can.
We can stick with the top two. We'll stick with the top
I
two.
would say
First
top
Wife's
two.
Club.
So my yeah, and Something's Gotta Give because Diana Keaton is amazing.
I love her.
Actually, Beaches. I just watched Beaches with Bette Midler,
Never
and
heard of
that
that.
was oh my. Well, first I love Bette Midler,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I will say those are my top three. For 2025, from January to June, is Beaches, Something's Gotta Give, and First Wife Club.
Amazing. Okay. Last question. What is your favorite thing about the first ward in Durham?
Ooh, my favorite thing is how diverse it is.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me, well, tell me more about your ward. And I said, well, get in the car and just go down the street. I lived in Ward 1 my whole life. And you can be in the suburbs, you can be in the middle of an apartment complex, you can see the most amazing local restaurants and have the most amazing food. And I think that's what I learned about it is because it's changed so much and it's changed because there's so much diversity. I think that's what I love. I also love the fact that my uh, elementary schools and my middle school and my high school are all in the ward, the best schools in Durham, Carrington, Riverside, Eno Valley, Holt. And so
Shout
yeah, I
out.
think those are some of the things I love about my ward.
Well, that's it for me. Thank you so much. Again, guys, the website, ElijahKingForDurham.com, Elijah King for NC on TikTok and Twitter. And then I know like and Elijah King, Elijah King for Durham on Instagram. You guys should follow along, send some support. Local races matter. And I'm
Yes,
so
they
glad
do.
you were here. Thank you.
Thank you.